Right, good afternoon everybody.
Good afternoon.
Well, here I am, the patient. You wouldn't have a job without me, would you? Anyway, before I start talking about me and what Shared Care's done for me, just a little bit about you. I love these opportunities because I get the chance to actually see faces and say to people, you know, in different parts of the country or wherever you're from, you know, a big, massive thank you for all you do for us kidney patients. You probably don't hear it too often because you get some of these miserable old men moaning, but mainly that could be fear, you know, fear of, it's a good way of defense is to attack, but you know, you do a wonderful, wonderful job, and I have to almost stop myself and crying when I get to this bit every time I do it because it's so sincere, you know, and I mean it. So on behalf of all those people, thank you so, so much. All right, thank you. Right, and about me, well, my name's David, and my kidneys started playing up about 11 years ago. Before that, I've had heart problems, but we started anyway. Tried several places, but eventually I saw a kidney specialist, and he discovered that yes, my kidneys were beginning to fail. They didn't know why, and we don't know to this day why they failed. But anyway, I used to go to the clinic quite regular, and I knew nothing about, you know, dialysis or kidneys, and you know, I just went to the clinic and they did these tests and blood tests. And you went the next time, it's not too good, but come again in 3 months or whatever, month. And then once I went and they said, you're going nowhere, you've got to stop here. I said, well, I just need to take the car home. They said, you can't move. Sorry, you know, you've got to come into hospital, you need dialysis. I thought, well, you know, that's what I've got to do then. So I went into hospital and had several tests and had the neckline in, and they put the neckline in, and that were all right. And I went into this room. It was all a bit frightening, the thought of it. What is this dialysis? But there was only 2 machines in this first room, one that end and that. There was a nice big television screen there, and it was the European Cup football on, which just suited me. So I went in, and the nurse came in and fixed up to my neck, and you know, it was a bit panicky like as to how it would feel, but no pain, no problem. And this machine suddenly started whirring away next to me, and you know, I could see the blood going round, and I thought, well, this is, you know, this is not too bad. There's no pain. This is all right. And 2 matches came on one after the other, football, so I was able to watch that. So that was good. And I had that 2 days running, and then I felt so much better. I was walking about. Felt really good, you know. I thought, this is brilliant. And towards the end of the week, they said, well, you can go home at the end of the week. And I thought, well, that's smashing, you know. And then this person came up to the end of the bed, and she said, your dialysis will be so-and-so, and you'll be 4 o'clock in the afternoon till 8. I said, no, not me. I'm cured. I've been cured, you know, I'm all right. And she said, no, she said, you'll have this now for the rest of your life. Well, you can't imagine the shock that I felt at that, because I just didn't have a clue, you know. It was my ignorance, and perhaps at the time the hospital not giving me enough information. I mean, they might have done, and I might have been a bit woolly-headed with everything going on and missed it, but it obviously wasn't clear enough, you know, because it was just like a complete shock. Anyway, I had to go in it was on a Saturday, the first one, and it was my son-in-law's birthday party and barbecue. We got there, but before they lit it, I had to go off to, you know, for dialysis. So, you know, I really began to get very miserable about all this. And then, you know, I heard about something called PD. Oh, well, what's this all about? So I found out, and they said, yes, you go into hospital and you have a tube in, which I did. Had the tube in my stomach, and but you know, it didn't work at all for me, really. They said, well, you get this little machine and you put it on the side of the bed, and you just plug yourself in, you go to sleep, and in the morning you wake up and everything's fine. And anyway, we tried tried it the first night, you know, I had the training obviously, fixed it all up, put it all in, and we went to bed like, and after about an hour and a half, this thing started beep, beep, beep. So, you know, out of bed and fiddled with it and beep, beep. Anyway, sort of wriggled about, and eventually the beeping stopped and it started filling itself up again. And then about an hour and a half later, beep, beep. So this went on all night. So we rung them up next day, and she said, well, it's obviously not clearing very well. She said, just jump up and down when it does it, you know. So the next night, hour and a half, beep, beep, beep. And so I'm up in the air, like this, out of the bed, and jumping. And my wife's there, and she said, I'm not having this anymore. So off she went in the spare room. Well, that was 10 years ago, and that's where she stayed. Anyway, so that didn't work. They put another tube in the other side to try again, but there was something with my peritoneum, and it didn't work. So, you know, we decided I'd have to go for the fistula. So they put me a fistula in, and that one failed because they had to be so fast trying to use it, and you know, the poor nurses, it was like trying to put one in a little vein, you know, and in the end it just blocked up, you know. So we had one in this arm then. And but when I went into that bigger hospital and saw the amount of people on this dialysis and all those beds, and they're all in bays, A bay, B bay, C bay, and I couldn't. I thought, well. And you walk in, and in those days it was sort of frightened because everybody's busy. It was first thing in the morning, and they're chasing. I was on the first 7 o'clock one, and everybody's trying to get people on. Obviously, you're doing your jobs, but you're new, and you walk in the door, and someone says, "Oh, that's, you know, you can sit on that, you know, lay on that bed." And it's like, you know, you're like this. You're trying not to, you know, smiling, but it is such a terrifying feeling, and this is how your patients feel as they're coming in, you see, and. Not them all, this is how I feel, I know, but anyway, then, you know, I got on the bed like, and this nurse came down the ward. Well, I thought she'd got something my mother used to knit with in her hand, you know, this blooming great needle. But anyway, she perceived to try and get it in my arm. I think it was you at the time. No. Anyway. We needled in, and you know, but it is a very frightening experience, and to be, you know, and I'm laughing now, and I'm quite happy to laugh, but at the time it was really bad, and I was in B Bay, and I really started to sink down at this machine. I felt as though it was like something from outer space doing something to me. I didn't understand it. I was terrified of it, and it kept beeping at me and flashing its lights. I had to keep calling the nurse, who had to walk all the way around and, you know, stop it. We're now talking, you know, before shared care, or just before. And this whole thing was like, I got so low and down, I began to think life was hardly what, I can't live like this. This is not, what's the point of this? You know, you've got this every 3 days in a week, and you never sleep the night before, and all of them used to say that just because you know you were going, you know, to have all this happen. And you're sort of laying there, and I don't know, it's as though you've got, you know, the nurses were wonderful. I mean, I've got to say that, and never a problem, but you just get that feeling, you know, that someone's powered over you and you've lost your sense of who you are somehow, you know, somebody else comes towards you with something, you immediately tense up, don't you, and think, oh, what's going on now? Anyway, as I say, I was in B Bay and I was down and down and down, but next door in A Bay, there was all this sort of laughing and talking, you know. In my bay, they were all, well, I thought they were all dead or dying, but they were all having a kip, you know, they were sleeping. But, you know, you got that feeling, and no one seemed to want to talk much. You know, they was all watching Jeremy Kyle if they weren't sleeping. And so anyway, I could hear this in eBay, and then one day I was in there, and then down the ward, well, I think she came down the ward. She might have come from somewhere right up in the sky, because this nurse came alongside the bed. She didn't lean over me, and she just sort of knelt at the side and said, "David, wondered if you're interested in shared care. Something we're trying, it's something new, and we're hoping to..." I said, "Oh, I don't know, what's shared care?" She said, "Well, you'll learn the machine." And I thought, oh, you know, I'm sick at that time. I was 65, I think. Crumbs, you know, I can't learn that. I said, "Well, I don't know about that." She said, "Well, you know, would you try, what do you think? You try a little bit at a time." And I said, "Well, where do you do this shared care?" She said, "In eBay." I said, "Right, I'll do it." You know, I could hear what was going on in eBay. I thought that's more like it, you know. So, but I went in there, and that's how it was. Everybody was teaching each other, you know, and the nurses were sort of, they would only teach you a little bit each day, and there was no pressure, and I used to get it all wrong, you know. I used to do those tapes, you know, ready, get your tapes ready. And I used to think, what length are they? Sometimes I do like that. Think that's right, unless you come along and say, "Oh, it's a bit long, Dave. We can share that in half, I think." And you know, another time I think, "Oh, it's too long, wasn't it? Too long." Oh, put little ones. Well, I think it's a bit small, but never any force. You know what I mean? It was all gentle and done so well, you know. And I used to put those bottles underneath the machine. I think, which one is it? And she'd come, "Oh, Dave, you put in the wrong one again there." Let me just sort of, you know, it was done so nice and gently and nicely, you know. And so there it was, you see, there was quite a gang of us in there, and we was all chatting and laughing, and we used to sing, and I mean, just such a different atmosphere, and inside I felt so different, you know. And then we did little things that perhaps we're not supposed to, which was like, poor nurse used to have to walk from right around the corner somewhere. So if my buzzer went and I had to leave it, she'd have come all the way down there and around there and switch it off and all the way back. And Peter over in the corner, that was the top man, because he could put his needles in, he could do everything. He said, "Dave, just to see that knob there, that button there," he said, "just press that when it happens." So you should just do that, you see, and then of course the nurse didn't have to come then, you see. Oh, I'm learning that machine a bit now. But so, you know, I slowly learnt it, and so there's all different ones. One woman, she got this aversion to needles, and she'd be, yeah, she'd got to do her own needling. She knew to get home, you know. And we all say, come on, Jane, come on, you know. And there was all this, you know, togetherness somehow, you know. And Jane would get a needle in, and we, hooray! Totally different atmosphere to all them that were just, you know, well, you know, it was so different, shared care, you know, we were sharing with us and with you. And I wouldn't say I look forward to going, but it was so much different, you know, to be there. And of course we got really friendly with the people that was in there. And anyway, I slowly learnt it, and then they said, "Well, would you like to perhaps go home, you know?" And I said, "Well, the trouble is we've only got a 2-bedroom cottage, and my wife's in the other bedroom." So they said, "Well, we'll put a cabin in your garden." So what? So in those days they actually did, you know, a big crane came one Sunday morning and got this, you know, massive cabin like, and put it in the garden and all the stuff in it, and marvellous. And you know, I used to go in there at 7 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock in the morning, set everything up, and then my wife she wasn't very keen on me going home at all actually to do it. She preferred me to come up here and let you have the worry. But I was determined to go home, so home I went. And but all she would do is come in and I'd just handle it and say, put it on there, and you know. And then she had a bit of a problem with, she couldn't walk the dog because I was in there for 3 hours, 2.5 hours. Because I decided to do 5 times a week, not 3. That's how confident you are when you're actually needling yourself, you know, and you know, everything's fine. So I did 5, but shorter hours, so it wasn't so boring. And we'd get it done by sort of 9:30, and then lock the door on the place and try and have a normal life, you know. Anyway, she couldn't walk the dog, so I said, well, all right, I'll get a walkie-talkie. So I said, once we're set up, you can go off with the dog, and you've got your walkie-talkie, and if I've got any problem, you know, if I begin to pass out, I can give you a shout. All right, so off she used to go with the walkie-talkie. And so I was telling one of the clinic chaps in the hospital about it, and he said, so what are you going to say, David? I've just passed out. He said, that's no good. Anyway, I used to wait till she got out and just turn the machine down a bit until she come back to make sure. Because it's funny, you never pass out. You know, I never passed out when I was doing it myself, because I think you've got a better idea of what you've eaten and what you've drunk and what's, you know, what's fluid and what's, you know, what's a massive meal you had the night before, whereas you don't know that, do you? And your orders are, anyone comes in, that's the weight, that's the difference, let's have it off. You know, you'd be going in your car sometimes from the hospital and your legs would be solid and, you know, with cramp, because you're too much off, you know. But I never had a cramp at all. I never had a cramp once at home. I never had, never passed out once at home, you know. So, you know, brilliant. So to me, I mean, shared care changed my life. The biggest thing for me, it was absolutely changed my life. And it gave me sort of power back in myself. I felt like a person again somehow. You know, so different. And, you know, I hope that gives you some idea of what you can do. I mean, talking about getting the cramp, I did go on a holiday once. Won't say where, but the people there, I said, oh, I'm on shared care, so I should be doing my own stuff. They said, oh, shared care? Shared care? You're on holiday, man. We do it all for you. I said, no, I think because I've got, you know, my buttonholes and everything. No, you're on holiday, you relax. Of course, you mucked me buttonholes up. Had to have sharp needles, ruined. I got these lovely old, good gone. So went back, and of course nurses weren't very happy at all back at the unit. You know, fancy letting them do that next time you go. So I went again, and they said, don't let her. So I went again, and chaps, I'll do your weight. So there was a man and a woman, so he did my weight and everything, which I always used to do myself, but anyway, he did that. Yeah, he said, I know what to take off. And then the woman come with her needles, came out. I said, no, I'll do it. I said, I'm on shared care. So I've got these, but they'd got fluid inside their needles, which was slightly different to what I was used to. So I was just hovering a bit, thinking, hang on, that's in there, I should be doing it. And she could give it to me. That's all right. Well, I let her do it. She done it again, didn't she? Ruined them again. So, and then he put me on the machine, and of course, I was just towards the end. Thought, man, a bit of cramp coming, a bit of cramp. Oh, and this muscle under the heart went right up. It's, oh, pain, my legs. I said, oh, I've got cramp. He said, I'll take you off. So they took me off everything. There was a little old lady there, she was on dialysis. And the man and the woman picked me up. I don't know whether it was well, they took me over there to a chair over there. So they both picked me up. You're right over there. They picked me up, and I'm like this. And she's here, he's here. They're walking me across the room, across the room. And then this poor little old lady was so upset by it all, she collapsed. So the woman let go. So now there's me and him. Oh. Anyway, we get to the chair and sat down. And we're sitting there. Oh, God. He said, hang on a minute. And he stood in front of me there and he went, he kept doing that. Oh. It was like a beating up. I said, that's not helping. He said, I know what you need. And he went and he found the biggest mug I've ever seen, full of Bovril. Drink that. I thought, well, I just took all that off. So we drank all this Bovril, and I had to sit there ages before it slowly eased off. And I was able to drive back to carry on with my holiday. I said to the wife, I've got to go back there once more during that time. I said, I'm going to have a quick short one. I'm going to do it all. And then I said, we're going to drive home and let me get back in my little cabin and sort myself out because I felt ill. So I went next time and I made sure I did it, told him what I wanted, and he did it, and off I went. When I got home, I went straight in the cabin. And it was like, oh, lovely, that machine. That one I used to hate, now I'm, saved my life. So it's a different attitude, to that one. Yeah, so that's just a little extra for you there. So we was having dialysis one morning, just finished with the wife, and the phone went, and it was a hospital, and they said, we think we've got a kidney that might suit you. So I said, well, that's wonderful. So they sent an ambulance down, and off I went up to the hospital, and that night they put this kidney in. That was 4 years ago, and it's going along fairly well at the moment. I've got a few problems with my heart, which is affecting my kidney a bit, because I'm making a lot of water in my legs, which is upsetting my kidney as well, because my heart's not pumping as well as it should, and so they give me a lot of medicine to get rid of this water, which is dropping the kidney workings a bit. As they say, what do you want? Your kidney or your heart? I said, I want both, please. But so we're balancing. But so that's lovely. That was brilliant. And with Tanya and everything, we've been to several different do's, haven't we, Tanya? I always forget what we were celebrating, but it was, we went to London and we were presented. We got first, would you like to just say what it was from there?
We got a Training Journal Award.
A Training Journal Award, and it was a proper award ceremony, and they announced it there, and it was a lovely evening. Yeah, it was really good. And again, I think we ought to just give Tanya a clap while we're here, because she's just got an award. She's just got an award for what she does here, which is wonderful work, brilliant work. So well done, Tanya. I think you were runner-up, but obviously them judges someone was paying them that, because you're never a runner-up. Top prize. Right, well, I think that's my story.
Thank you.
Thank you.